views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee and welcome to Open BxRx, our special coverage of COVID-19, the elections, the protests, and more. We welcome everybody in the community and keep it tuned to BronxNet. We've got it all going on for you. Coming up on today's show, we've got the elections. Elections are approaching, and we'll break down what you need to know about absentee ballots and what's on the ballot and a whole lot more. Plus, students around the world, they graduate, and many are looking for jobs. And the Resume Tailor joins us with tips on resume building and job hunting. Then we'll learn about food justice and what one group is doing to train youth to grow food and maintain healthy lives. After that, we'll check out a local restaurant and see how they're giving back during this time, this pandemic, to our frontline workers. And then we'll take a look at some of their menu items too. Yummy, yummy. And then Bobby C has the latest in the headline in the world of sports. And then later on, we'll find out about a naturally beauty product person. She has the self-care products you want to see and hear more about. So stay tuned. All this and more is headed your way because we are now open. Hello and welcome. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to Open. Our first guest is from the New York City Campaign Finance Board and joins us with lots of information on the upcoming elections. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be in it to win it. Exercise your right to vote. She's from the voting board, and we welcome Sabrina Castillo.
Thank you so much for having me. And like you said, you got to be in it to win it. And this is an important election coming up. And it's such an important time to be having this conversation. No. So thank you for having us.
For those who don't think that elections are important or their vote doesn't count, explain.
Well, I think never, like we have seen, at least in our generation, how elected leaders are making life or death decisions for us. And if we don't vote, we're letting other people decide who those leaders will be and how they will create the change that we're asking for or not created. So voting alone is not sufficient to create the systemic change that is being called out for. There are many ways to be civically engaged, but voting is an essential step in that process. And we do have a primary coming up for local races and the presidential primary as well.
And who's on the ballot?
So in New York, we'll be having primaries, Democratic presidential primaries. Also critical primaries coming up are for Congress, state legislator, and some municipal offices. So depending on what city or district you live in, your primary will look a little different. And so the best thing to do is to get ready for June 23rd and figure out, one, do you have a primary? But if I just take a step back, you want to first thing is go on voting.nyc and check if you're registered to vote. If you're registered to vote, that's one step. Then for each primary in New York, we don't have open primaries, so you need to be registered in that political party. So if you're registered in a political party and they are having a primary, then you're able to vote. And you'll be able to see the different seats that are coming up in your particular area.
Yeah. How's the coronavirus epidemic or pandemic affecting people coming out to vote?
Well, it is really created and really challenged New York to step it up. And so I think that some of the biggest measures that have happened went along with the executive order that Governor Cuomo put out, which is that everyone can vote by mail. Essentially, that is the absentee voting process that New York has had, yeah. Except for now, you can just click or put in there, if you're doing it by paper, you can put temporary illness. And if you're doing it online, you can just click temporary illness as your excuse to be able to be voting. So now everyone who is registered to vote might have received the application already, you can fill that out, or you can go online and do it. And Bob, it takes 2 minutes. The website is web friendly on your phone, and you'll be able to just do that. And you do need to request your absentee ballot before June 16th.
June 16th. Oh, okay.
I mean, I think the best thing to do right now is to look at what are your options. You have more options than we've ever had in New York. Just last year, early voting came in, and now we have this vote by mail system for this particular primary. And so what you really want to do is prepare, make a plan. Are you going to vote by mail? If so, you need to request an absentee ballot. Or are you going to vote early? There's some preparation in that if you want to go out and vote in person. And of course, follow all city guidelines, which is wear masks. You can take other precautions as wearing gloves, and the Board of Elections will also be taking its own precautions.
Are the machines working? We had that big problem out there in Georgia. Is everything okay? No long lines? We can just go and vote? People don't have to worry?
You want to be able to prepare for that. So the best thing that you can do is make sure that you figure out what works best for you, for your family, for your health. So you want to be able to request your absentee ballot. That's one way to avoid that. The other is to go vote early.
So on the ballot, you have the U.S. House, congressional special elections. You got the state Senate, state assembly. I said state assembly, the state legislative, local judges, state ballot measures, school boards, and municipal.
Yes. In particular, in municipal, Queens will be having a special election amongst others that are going on. And a lot of the changes that people want, and I feel that the way we come out of all of this pandemic, the protests, trying to fight for social justice is going to determine and reflect on how we vote. So it is important to do that at this time. And then, like I said, it's never been easier. So you can request your ballot online on voting.nyc. You can go there, request it online. The Board of Elections also has a phone number and an email. And what we have really seen is that there is an interest in doing this. So if you're registered to vote, there's never been a better time to get involved and make sure that you create that long-lasting impact across the city.
There you go. So that absentee ballot, you got to go online to get that, or in most cases that's sent to your home, and you have to put down that maybe you're ill or something like that.
So you'll request the absentee ballot, and you can have it sent the ballot to a different address. We understand some people might be displaced at this moment, and then you will put in their temporary illness as your excuse, because it will ask you for an excuse. So you will use that as part of the reason why you're voting via absentee, and then you will receive a ballot. The ballot, Bob, has a long list of instructions and places where signatures need to be, and particularly on the envelope. It's going to tell you to use a blue or a black pen. And so you want to be able to sit down, go through all the instructions, because when you're voting by mail, while it is easy and on your own time, there are instructions to follow the process so that your vote can be counted. And if one of those steps is missed, it could cause for your vote not to be counted.
Is that part of your voter guide?
Yeah, so you can go on voting.nyc. Our voter guide is available. There is an FAQ available for you to clearly understand how to be able to vote via absentee or in-person early voting or on election day. But more importantly, also all the offices are there and who is running. And one of the things that we are really calling out right now to elected officials, because we do post on there, what is it that candidates are running on? So today we're asking
that's great.
To share on their social media and plan to address these issues while they're in office. And we want them to tag us and use hashtag NYC Voter Guide, because we can't cover all the issues, but we want to know where people stand.
Yeah, you got to go into it knowing what you're doing. You want some information. So when we did that march on Washington with all of the students, and they were on stage talking about REV. And I thought they were going to rev something up on stage, but REV stood for register, educate, and vote. Register, you got to make sure you're registered, and you got to educate yourself to the issues and educate other people around you, and then vote. Because it's so important. It's like more important now than ever before. And some people say, oh, you guys always say that, but it's always been important, but you just got to know what it is.
So we got the registration pretty down packed in New York City. We have very high voter registration, but we have very low voter turnout, specifically in the Bronx. The Bronx has the lowest voter turnout amongst young people and all ages. So we definitely have the voter registration. You know, we're tugging along. There are some challenges right now with not having online voter registration, but voter and that education piece, like you said, is very key. After you submit your absentee ballot, you can just send that link to people so that they can request theirs. It's very easy to do, right? But it takes someone to kind of walk you through that. Voting as a whole hasn't always been easy. And so people are just intimidated or they don't really know what to expect. So just having those conversations, that education piece is really important to get to that vote piece.
Yeah, and people need to step up, take charge of your household, because you're a leader and you got to realize the power that you have in exercising your right to vote.
The deadline did pass for the primaries. You should still register today. Like if you are moved by something, if you want to create change, you should register today so that you don't have to worry about it over the summer. We can't lose track of our elections, even if times feel a little odd or different or crazy at times. It's important now more than ever because we see the effects of past election choices and the reactions that it's had in these crises. So part of that is to make sure we don't lose track of it. So if you're watching this and you're not registered to vote, it is never too late. You can register, vote in November. And if you're not registered and you know people who are registered now, encourage them to vote for the primary.
There you go. And they can go to voting.nyc.org for more information.
Just voting.nyc. And all our tools and guidance are there to be able to help New Yorkers to build their overall political power, making sure that they're registered to vote, making sure that they get out to vote, making sure that we are giving them the right information so that on election day they're ready, so that they're ready to go if they go early voting or if they're doing this early voting or via absentee. And like I said, in particularly when we're talking about voting, the presidential election is 1 year where everyone comes out. We want people to get started now so that next year we're going to have over 500 candidates running in New York City. Everyone is fully aware of that process and they can exercise what the city is really going to shape into. Yeah,
excellent. Sabrina, thank you so much. Everybody moving together in the same direction for a common cause. I use that all the time. Let's do it. Sabrina Castillo, Director of Partnerships and Outreach, New York City Campaign Finance Board. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. You are a wealth of information. We appreciate your service. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. All right. We'll take a break. I've got more right here on Open. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next. Welcome back to Open Up the Dr. Bob Lee, and I've got the Resume Tailor on the line. Errol Olton is in the house. He's tailor-made. Welcome. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. I'm excited to be back. This is a really beautiful experience to be back in your company and share some really great career tips.
Yeah, we're going to call you the Resume King.
Oh, okay. I don't know if there's got a business out there with that. I don't know.
Somebody else has it?
Who knows? Who knows? But the Resume Tailor is the only one they need to know.
Yeah, that's all right. But you're the king of the Resume Tailors.
Right.
There's only one Resume Tailor, though. How did you come up with that name?
Well, you know what's funny? As I was thinking about business names to really start it, I said, well, what's the number one thing, like I know in all the clients I work with? I said, you know, is really tailoring someone's resume, just like a tailor, you know, because sometimes, you know, you come to a tailor and say, does this fit? Does that fit? And they have to try to make with what you've got work in your best favor, right? To make you shine and stand out. So Resume Tailor is the same thing. I thought it would be the perfect name to suit the business and the work that I've done.
There you go. Tailor-made for you, because everybody has their own individuality, their own personality. And when you go to seek employment, you are the person to come to so you can shine a light on them when they're sitting there being interviewed.
Absolutely, Bob. I say to every single client I have, every single person has a story, you know, and it's what stories we tell ourselves, what stories people have told about us. And somehow that comes out in some type of form on the resume. And usually I would say 95% of the time, folks are not telling a story that's the best version of themselves. So every time I speak to a client, I want to know what successes they've had, what they're really great at, what they really believe about themselves, and we get it into 1 to 2 pages.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know how to present that like you do. You know, you may have the inside track to that, and the person trying to put that resume together may be following some basic guidelines, but to tailor make it to that person, that personality, to the person who they are, to be able to present themselves in a way that will get them the job. You know, get them to that next level. And that's where you come in.
And I'm excited to do it every single time. I've worked with folks from youth to folks that are just on the seniority executive level in their careers. And like you're saying just right now, you know, everybody's got a story, and it's how we want to tell it.
Anything special stand out in your mind? Like whose resume have you put together that pops in your mind right now?
Right now,
I mean, that's hard to figure out because your resumes pop anyway. But you know, if you can think of any one person that was very excited about what you put together.
Okay, so I would say there was there's definitely I could give you a quick 2, you know. One is definitely someone that was in the medical field, nursing, you know. And sometimes it's hard to think like, how am I going to stand out with nursing, because we're all, you know, if I'm a part of a medical team, we're all doing the same job to some extent, you know. But what I really try to focus in on with that person was really those small moments between them and the patient, you know, those moments where they were able to, whether the patient couldn't speak or, you know, whether because of a language barrier or a physical barrier, and they were able to just be really savvy and trying to find ways for the patient to communicate and calm them down and let them communicate with their family. Those heartfelt moments. You know? And so to take a resume, blend the technical skills, but also blend those strong interpersonal skills. That was really, really exciting for folks that are out there, essential workers, you know, making a difference every day.
And that's exactly what's going to distinguish you from the next person who just, okay, let me change your bed sheets and turn you over. And You have that special inside touch.
Because we all, I think in every, you know, single thing that we do that's, you know, whether it's our job or something career related, we all have these warm moments that I think sometimes we take for granted, right? And we don't want to seem too braggy, you know, and just like, no, it's okay. This is just what I do. Well, your resume should be your brag sheet. That's the time when you need to stand out, you know, so using all those heartfelt stories.
Now, a lot of people graduating, whether it be virtually or the best way they can at this point. What advice would you give to the new graduates?
Oh, they've got it tough, right? Because right now they're saying we're in a recession. The economy is like flipped on its head. And if I'm a recent graduate, I'm thinking, what the heck is going on out there? Can I find a job? You know, so here's what I kind of want to dispel a couple of myths, right? The job market things are really challenging now, but all is not lost. I go on Indeed to just check the market, and I also look at the Department of Labor, especially for New York. And I'll tell you this, jobs are on the come up. They are on the come up. So if you're a youth that just graduated and you're looking at social media and thinking the world is done, it's not. Go apply every single day. So I've got a couple of tips for them, right? So I would say the first tip is they should really leverage the people in their household. And let me explain what I mean by that. The folks in their household have a combined 60 plus years of working experience. So who better to try a mock interview with than the people in your home? So I say, if you're a recent graduate, get dressed up, put on your best, put on the tie, you're gonna tie, and speak with your parents, your guardians, whoever, and present yourself as if you're, interviewing for a job. And today I'm going to actually, to support the youth, I'm going to actually put up a couple of mock interview questions they could try at home. But, your family is going to be able, once they read those questions, to give you feedback on your posture. They're going to give you feedback on, do you sound confident, or are you going to sound, kind of shy or slumped down? They're going to give you, feedback on so much that matters, those soft moments, those soft skills that matters in the interview experience. And so I say, use the folks in your home to get ahead. That's the first tip.
Yeah. And so, but, so the resume is going to get you, especially the ones that you write for people, it's going to get you in the door. Yeah. So now when you get in the door, you have to be prepared. But you say prepare before you get there. Get dressed up, even if you have nowhere to go, and just present it in front of your parents or your friends. And then when you get a chance to go in there, how should you act? How should you be? Give us some tips on that.
Yeah, so when you go in there, right? So when you're going to an interview experience, or if you're virtually interviewing, which is a big thing, right? I think I'll just touch on both, right? You can go there if you're virtually interviewing. You can sit like you are right now, just a top on. Absolutely. So you can just look. I probably got a. I have a deep from the bottom, right? I'm not saying it, right? My feet are up, right? But you want to make sure that the top half is extremely professional. You're wearing professional attire.
You don't have to worry about shoes.
You don't have to worry about shoes. Put something comfortable. You know what I love to do? Sometimes keep little gadgets or fidgets there in case I get nervous underneath the screen, so that
gotcha.
They don't see. Or I'll tell you this, if you want to say something, if you want to make sure no matter what happens in the interview, I want to highlight these 3 things. I'll tell you right now, keep your talking points right below the screen. Keep your talking points. I don't care.
You can even put them on the screen for a hot second. You can go like this right there, because it looks like you're looking at the screen, right?
It looks like you're looking at the screen. So if you're home and you're doing a virtual interview, you want to make sure your posture straight, your background is clear. There's not a lot of distraction, right? Because you want to exude professionalism. Yeah. Have your talking points, not a lot, just have a talking points on the screen. Look straight into that camera. It's going to feel natural a little bit because the box with their video is a little bit below, but it'll take some of the pressure off of you.
People are getting used to it now because they're Zooming and they're doing FaceTime and all that. So they're getting pretty used. Instagram, all that stuff. They're getting kind of used to being on TV now.
You're getting used to it, right? So think about, if you're a youth and you're going Instagram Live, you're on Snapchat or TikTok or whatever it is.
There you go.
Think of it just like that, right? To take some of the pressure off. And all you're doing, right? Because think about it. If you got the interview, they already know for the most part you're qualified.
Yeah.
Right. So they looked at your resume. You looked at your application. They said, this person is qualified. Let me interview them. So you're already.
You got them in the door. You got them in the door.
You're in the door. You're already qualified. All they want to know is your story. They want to know how, what's it like to have you on the team. What for you to talk about some of the points that you mentioned in your resume to expand on them. So get rid of all that nervous feeling. Get rid of all that anxiety.
Get it out.
Qualified.
Yeah. And you got to know more about the company than the person that's interviewing you.
Absolutely.
So do some research on that company or the organization that you're going to work or want to work for.
Absolutely. Always do research. Look at their social media, their Twitter, what they posted this morning on Instagram or Facebook, and find a way to mention it in the interview. And one of the things I always tell clients is, find a way and say, hey, I know I'm applying for this human resource role. However, how could this role support your latest initiative in XYZ? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Now, if you have to go in person, do you come in with one of these?
Right. So if you have to go in person, you come in with your face mask because you want to be, you want to show responsibility, right? And
take out your hand sanitizer.
Start right after that handshake. And I'm pretty sure that when they start going back into those face-to-face interviews, there's probably going to be a couple of protocols. Your interviewer probably is going to sit on the other side of a huge conference table, because they're trying to stay protected as well. But you're going to see a lot of virtual interviews, mostly now. Yeah. So I think that's a huge thing that if, the youth are home and they got to do their virtual interviews, I say first practice on the folks that you have 60 years of experience, combined experience in your household. And these folks have worked before and they can tell you what an employer is really looking for. So sit up, make sure you're enunciate, don't slump down in the seat or anything. Just very professional background. Have your talking points there, and practice, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Yeah, because we're all nervous. Yeah.
But then you'll get rid of that right away because you have everything. No fear. You have everything that you need.
No fear.
Just go in there with confidence.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of people, youngsters, that don't understand that they're posting different things right about now. Mm-hmm. And they have to be aware that employers are going back and they're looking at what they posted in the past. So they have to be very, very careful of what they post. Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
Well, Bob, I'll tell you this. I have a background in recruitment, so I'm a former recruiter as well. And the one thing is when I see a candidate's name pop up, I Google their name. I look up their Facebook, their Instagram, because I want to see who's going to represent. If I bring you on my team, how are you representing my company? How are you representing, my department? How are you representing me? Because you're going to potentially be an extension of this business and this brand. And if I see, a lot of party pictures, and granted, we all have our personal lives, but lock the page, So if I see a lot of, party life, and I see, a lot of, things that are just completely insane and offensive, I don't want to take the chance. Because that's part of your character. Anything you put online is fair game for anyone, So they're going to Google your name, they're going to Google your email, and they'll see what pops up. So right now, if you're at home, maybe you want to Google your name, maybe you want to Google your email. I do it once a week because
see what's up there. Because people will post stuff. I was somewhere DJing and I was talking to somebody and it was time to do that mix. Yeah. And I went over and I did the mix. Luckily, that mix was like perfect because somebody took that and posted it up. I said, well, I didn't know that person was recording. Yeah. So they caught the mix and everything.
You never know. You know what, Bob? Also, when folks respond on other people's informations, like let's say you responded to somebody's comment and your name shows up under their comment, that shows up in your Google search results too. So you might not have posted something, but if you publicly replied to something, that's going to get you.
Wow. Yeah. So where can we find more about you and what you can do for others?
Sure. You can find me at theresumetailor.com.
There you go. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. Errol Olton, the Resume Tailor. He'll tailor make your resume to your personality. And 9 times out of 10, you'll get the job.
You're going to get that. Right.
The rest is up to you. All right. Thank you so much, Errol. We really appreciate you. Thank you for your service.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Happy to be here.
I'm going to sit up straight now.
Yeah.
More on Open coming up next. Question: are you hungry? If you are, don't worry about a thing. Our next guest is from the American Grill restaurant in the South Bronx. South Bronx, Bronx strong. And here to share more about their business and what they are currently offering, we welcome Karim Millan to the show. Karim, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good morning. How's everybody?
Great. So what are you cooking over there? And are you the owner, the co-owner, the chef?
I'm actually right now the manager of American Grill, and we recently hired a new chef. He's actually an award-winning chef from New Mexico. So
whoa, all right.
We have expanded our menu, a lot more interesting meals, and we welcome everybody in the Bronx and around New York to come in and try our food. And now we have actual dinner plates. We have a lot more different kinds of meals. And also we have more services. We do caterings now. We do private chef services. So it's been a lot of expansion.
Yeah. I wonder how that catering business started.
Oh, well.
Did it have anything to do with the pandemic?
Yeah, no, actually, when this COVID-19 problem started, we had to look for new ways to keep working. So we started a campaign on trying to feed the front lines, the people from hospitals, the first responders, and all those people. So it's been good. It's been good.
Blessings on you guys. Thank you so much for what you do.
I mean,
Yes.
We're trying to do our part.
Yeah, our frontline workers are out there, and you guys are helping them every step of the way. That's great.
Yes.
That's great. You're open for business. And can people come in and sit down now, or you can still do curbside?
No, actually, it's just takeouts and deliveries at this time because of the situation. So we're working hard on trying to stay protected at the restaurant. So not a lot of people just come in, grab their food, and leave. It's just safer for all of us for now.
Yeah. What are you doing for safety over there? I mean, as far as hand sanitizers, masks, and
yeah, we have the masks, hand sanitizers all over the place. We just ordered the plexiglass so we can have a little, space and not get too close to the people. The 6 foot distancing, and that's about it. We've been trying to do everything we can to stay protected.
Well, thank you guys for all you do, and thank you for responding to the first responders and helping them get what they need during this pandemic.
Yeah, especially that the catering work that we do has been really good for us because we've been at Mount Sinai Hospital, Jacoby, Lincoln Hospital. So it's been a lot of work, and we're proud of it. We're really proud of it.
Yeah. So if people want to place orders, can they do it? And how far do you go? How far do you travel?
Right now, we're going all over New York, from all over the Bronx, Mount Vernon, Yonkers, Manhattan. So we're really there for everybody right now.
So if somebody travels that far, make sure you tip them well.
Yeah. We're just happy to deliver,
Yeah. So how do they get in touch with you if they want to make a delivery?
You can contact us at AmericanGrillNYC.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, American Grill NYC, and just call the number. It's on the menu, and we're here to help.
Karim, thank you so much. Do you have a website? How can we follow you?
AmericanGrillNYC.com.
There you go. Karim Millan, thank you so much. The American Grill Restaurant in the South Bronx. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for all you do. All right.
Thank you for having
Healthy
me.
eating. Stay safe.
Likewise.
All right, you got it. Send us some food.
We will. No problem.
We'll take a break and come back with more next on Open.
All right, sports fans, we welcome in Dr. Melvin Lee Stanley Sr., also known just appropriately, affectionately as Doc Stanley, a longtime friend of the program, a longtime friend of myself. Doc, how are you? How's everything going?
I'm doing well. I think everybody here is sort of happy. The opening of New York City, and so it's everybody's on a fresh new page, and hopefully the opening of some sports venues that have long been closed.
I wanted to get your take as someone that has had a really interesting career, not only as a journalist, but also as a former police officer, a retired police officer. Doc, what's going on in the world right now, and what do you think the message needs to be?
Well, I mean, the message has always been LOVE. You go back to Dr. King, and you always want to be judged by the content of your character and not the color of your complexion. It's moving. I'm working down in the area right across the street from Union Square Park, and the protests have been coming up every day. It was kind of a rewarding, thrilling experience to see the unity through this unfortunate incident that's come about. It's sad and touching, and it's sad for what consequences have brought this thing about. But it's touching to see the unity of everybody. I mean, you could understand somewhat the reaction in Minneapolis, but to see the reaction not only domestically but internationally. But I think we do have a situation now where we don't have guys who understand what the job is about. The job is about protecting and serving, not shooting and killing. So a cartoon the other day was kind of sad, and the police officer a white police officer is speaking to a black kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? And he says, I want to be alive. We understand that athletes are role models, and you embrace the fact that these guys have done that. They're standing up, they're talking about the situation.
I know you've always covered all sports, and I love listening to the stories, especially for boxing and our admiration of Muhammad Ali. Of course, not only is a fantastic boxer, maybe the greatest of all time, but also, again, for everything that he did for this country, I think as a pioneer. I'm pretty sure he would be very proud of retired NBA player Steven Jackson and the work that he's been doing lately. And the same could be said, I think, for another NBA star that's really emerged the last week, and that would be Steph Curry, who's out there, like you said, with a number of other NBA players and protesting. And it's been interesting to see, like we talked about earlier, how much the sports world has really been involved in trying to affect change.
Curry stepping forward is no surprise. I mean, if you know his family, everybody tells what a great shooter he is. His dad, Del Curry, could light it up too. But and athletes have always been role models, and you're right. It's good to see, because I've said that, sadly enough, when it comes to black athletes, they admire, they respect, they want to be like Ali, but so few are. So few speak out. And we're not having to speak out, but then again, so few you can find in the black or Latin. Well, Latins go back to the neighborhoods, but so few can you find in the neighborhoods. So few feel an association to go back and give back. But Ali, you can't put into words what Ali was about, and I think he typifies first time I ever heard Larry Brown talk about Dr. J. Jr. I was going into the locker room, and I heard Larry talking, and I caught the end of the conversation. He said he's even a greater superstar off the court than he is on the court. And that's Ali. I've been blessed by the grace of God. Of course, we're all great. Wonderful things come from. We had a little buddies, and service to others is the rent you pay for your room on earth. That's Ali. And Ali wasn't about black and white. Ali was about helping other people. He was there for meetings and organizations, but he always was aware and conscious of the needs of his people. And sometimes we get a situation where it's nepotism. When blacks help, Ali was always there. And my problem that they're not a black athletes. Now, have we been unfair to say Mike didn't speak out? Well, Mike, you pay Michael Jordan to play basketball. You pay these guys to play the sport, and everybody couldn't be Ali. We'd love to have a world full of Alis, but they all couldn't be Ali. But there are a lot of guys who do things quietly. Mike made a lot of donations and did a lot of things for a lot of organizations that he just, it wasn't publicized. So, in this case, like I said, when you talk about Ali, I mean, who wouldn't be sad to see the state of our situation now? Ali and King and DeBoris. I mean, you look at the guys who, Rosa Parks, the stand she took, and you look at Rosa Parks' situation. She was right. She was sitting where she was supposed to be sitting, but a white person wanted that seat. And white privilege has always been the situation. She got locked up. She got locked up for sitting where she was supposed to be in the back of the bus. And we look at situations today. We pray and hope for changes. It's good to see certain athletes step up. LeBron has always been one to vocal. Charles Barkley has been one that's always been vocal. always been adamant about situations and spoke about them. So he's another guy. I think he was one of the few guys back in those days that did speak out. Isaiah did a lot of stuff too, but like I'm saying, we can't expect everybody to be Ali, but there's an obligation that you have. And I think that a lot of the black athletes who admire Ali, who respect Ali, have to be like Ali in getting into the black neighborhoods and getting affiliated with their people, helping the community.
I'm hoping that at this point, we're starting to have those appropriate conversations and dialogue. And I think that in order for there to be change, we finally have to reach that point where you start to have these conversations that might be difficult for, might be uncomfortable for some.
I saw a video yesterday, and it was a garage entrance, Black Lives Matter, rest in peace, George. And it was two white girls, and they said, me, my sister, and our neighbor, we did this. And I called my mother and my father and told them we did it. And they told us to get rid of it, wash it down. Wash it down. And she said, now I know I'll probably get a beating for it, but I'm not going to wash it down. She said, but this is the problem with racism. Here we are trying not to move in that vein, and our parents want to keep us on that same road. So, gentlemen, thanks a lot for the opportunity to chat and talk. Thanks a lot for the opportunity of you guys showing your concern, showing your class. And it's no surprise that the world was full of guys like you. I told Bob the other day that great song by Sam Cooke, what a wonderful world it would be, So thanks a lot for the opportunity. A change is going to come. I thought about that last night. I want to have you guys on the radio show. 1964, Sam Cooke, inspired by Bob Dylan, who the answer is blowing in the wind, and Sam felt there was a need for a black man to have a song about the movement and civil rights. And he sang that song in 1964. The change hasn't come yet. And we're talking 1964, and there was changes need to be done before 1964, but the change hasn't come yet. But the great line, God is in control, so it'll work out for us. So you're glad to see, like I said, to leave. God has a plan, God's in control, but you really heighten and feel good about the world, and let me tell you something, man. There's more black or white people out there in those protests sometimes than black people, and you want to salute them, because the great line of Roberto Clemente, greatest right fielder of all time, I am my brother's keeper, dovetailed by the great line from Nelson Mandela, and my brothers come in all colors. You guys, thanks a lot for being my brothers. Thanks for having me on the show. God bless you and trust in God.
Doc Stanley, Trust in God Radio Network. Thanks again, Doc, for joining us.
Appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and hey, better days are coming. Better days are coming.
Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee. Here we go again. I've got you covered with Live on Bronxnet, and I've got the founder of Be You Beauty, or Be Your Beauty, and joins us today to discuss self-care and self-awareness and all those things. Bianca Pitman is going to tell us more, and she's a queen, a Hal Jackson's Talented Teens contestant. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me once again. It's been 3 years now, I think, since I went on this show the first time.
Yeah.
And things have definitely transformed and things like that. So I'm so happy to be here today.
Tell us some of the things that you do.
So I am the founder of Be You Beauty. Be You Beauty is all about rekindling the relationship between beauty and wellness. I help women tap into their divine feminine power through self-care and self-healing modalities. I make products. I've been making products for about 8 years now. Aside from making products, I'm a hairstylist and makeup artist for production for 10 years. I Be You Beauty in 2013 based off loved ones passing away from cancer. I felt like people count calories, they don't count chemicals. it inspired me to want to come out with a product that was at least 100% natural. You know, these ingredients in our products are just as detrimental as the things that we eat. So it inspired me to start my product line.
Seems like you're on fire right now with it.
Yes, literally. This is sage burning. For those of you who are seeing smoke, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with sage, but sage is great for cleansing negativity and purifying the energy around you, whether it's your own space, physical body, the energy of your physical body, or the energy of your space. So just wanted to cleanse the energy and have divine energy come in while I'm on this interview.
Tell us what you're wearing.
So, take it off if I can. Oh, no, it's stuck in my hair. It's a crystal crown. It has crystals like selenite. Selenite is great. It's a great addition to sage. What a lot of people aren't aware of is that selenite is a wand. I actually have it here. Looks like this. This is powerful as sage. So if you don't have sage in your home, you can literally have a selenite wand and like wand it around your body, and you're literally cleansing your energy. So I have that in here. I have rose quartz, which is a pink crystal. Looks like this. It's great for love and opening your heart to receiving unconditional love and giving unconditional love.
Yeah, agape love.
Yes. So then we have amethyst, which is the purple one, which is in the middle, looks like this. And this is all about your spirituality and opening up your third eye so that you can be more spiritually aware of things. So I'm all about aligning and balancing chakras. A lot of people don't realize that their feminine power comes from their sacral chakra.
You wearing? You have some sort of African garb? Or?
So yes, I'm just living in my goddess black energy, and I'm been, just taking in all the colors. All these colors balance different chakras within. So if you wear certain colors, they're actually going to balance certain chakras. So I wear a lot of purples and oranges. For the purples for spirituality, and the orange is to boost like confidence and self-esteem and stuff like that. So I like wearing flowy things. I think, it just gives us that energy, that feminine essence.
Where can we find out more about your products?
So I'm on Instagram at BU Beauty Official. It's BEYOU Beauty Official. And my website is BUBeauty.com. So it's BEYOUBeauty.com. What else do I have? I have this Facebook business page is BU Beauty Official. So everything the handles are pretty much the same. BU Beauty Official or BUBeauty.com.
Well, thank you so much. BU Beauty. You are so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Bob, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again.
Very soon. Yes. I was going to ask you, did you sing or dance with Hal Jackson Sound of Teens?
So I used to sing, not saying I could sing. But I sang, but my biggest thing was I used to always do Maya Angelou, Phenomenal Woman poem. It's my favorite.
And that's what you did on Hal Jackson Sounds of Teens contest?
Yes.
All right, just a piece of it. Do you remember it?
Pretty woman, wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say it's in the curve of my back. And see, I don't know the rest. I remember my speech, though. I remember my speech when I was 13. I can say that.
All right, just a piece. Ready to go.
Lights, camera, action. Bianca Pitman has arrived on the scene. The next Hal Jackson talented preteen, vibrant, young, and full of life. This 11-year-old is out of sight. Tonight, I'm starting my modeling career. Tomorrow's front page, my name will appear. So watch out, world. Soon you'll see this Teaneck resident on Dr. Bob Lee. Hey!
You're a poet, and you know it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bianca. We love you.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you for all you do.
Stay safe.
Yes, very soon. You too.
Bye.
Bianca Pitman, founder of BU Beautiful. We'll be back with more next. Welcome back. I'm the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS and, of course, Bronx Net. And we have Katherine Soll on the line. She's the CEO and president for Teens for Food Justice. And we also have Joshua. We call him Josh Serrano. He's the senior marketing development manager. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you guys are doing some great things. Teens for Justice. Tell us about it.
So Teens for Food Justice is an organization that works to train kids to be the leaders in a movement to eradicate food insecurity within a generation, and to really address the unequal and really dramatic health implications of food insecurity and lack of fresh access to healthy food in your diet that primarily impact low-income communities and communities of color. And of course, we're really seeing that play out now in the coronavirus crisis, as the communities that are being hit the hardest are communities of color. And in part, that's due to the fact that many people who are living in these communities are suffering from those health issues, such as diabetes and heart disease, which are really the direct result.
How has the pandemic affected Teens for Food Justice?
Well, we work with kids in schools across New York City. We train them how to build and run hydroponic farms, really large farms that grow food indoors in water, not using soil, and using really state-of-the-art technology. And our students are growing, thousands of pounds per year that gets distributed into their cafeterias for consumption every day at lunch, and also free and affordable distribution into their communities. Our students are learning about health and nutrition skills that they share with their communities alongside the food that they distribute, as well as learning how to advocate for a healthy food movement. Unfortunately, because of COVID and the closures of schools, all of our farms had to shut down. So we have not been able to continue growing in schools, and have had to shift to remote work with our kids and other types of healthy food access interventions in our communities.
And Josh, you have to market all of this. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. So in normal times, we try to really make sure that people get a real-time sense of what's going on in these classrooms, in the farms, and also what our students are doing for their communities, producing for their communities in terms of what they're growing and selling, but also what they're advocating for, right? Which is healthy food access everywhere, and really eradicating food deserts that sort of characterize a lot of the communities that our farms and our schools are in. So if you can imagine what that looks like for a nonprofit, it's basically elevating the voices of our students. Yeah. Work, really.
And did you mention food deserts? Not desserts, but deserts.
Yes, food deserts, yes.
Yeah, explain that.
Yeah, so a food desert community is can be understood as a community where there is poor access to fresh, nutritious food. Yeah. And it's usually coupled with a lot of access to things like fast food and outlets that sell a lot of processed and junk foods. But it's really hard to find a market somewhere where you can get fresh, nutritious produce. And food deserts tend to overlay in areas that tend to be lower income, tend to be people of color living there. So a lot of the same socioeconomic fault lines that exist overlap with food deserts.
Katherine, this is all over the place. I mean, people sometimes struggle to find healthy eating places, and sometimes you become conditioned to eat the foods that you're used to eating over the years. What should people know about obtaining healthy foods right now?
Well, there's a tremendous amount of emergency food provision going on through the city and through, all of the emergency food providers and organizations like ours that have pivoted to trying to get food to people at a time when the demand and the need for food assistance has grown exponentially as a result of the recession. One of the issues that I think everybody is struggling with across the city is ensuring that the food that we're getting to people in a crisis where so much of this food is being provided for free is ensuring that it is healthy. And a lot of the time it is not.
Yeah.
We are focusing on creating fresh food box distribution programs, which is something that we do. Yeah, and doing those both free and affordably, really low-cost subsidized fresh food box distributions that are eligible for SNAP purchase, so that you can get a box of produce plus some shelf-stable items that enable you to make healthy meals at home, for like $5 to $7 a bag using your SNAP.
Yeah, and where do they go to get this food?
Right. So we're starting up those programs in Brownsville and on the Upper West Side within the next few weeks. In Brownsville, our partner is Collective Fare, which is located right in the heart of Brownsville. And on the Upper West Side, we're still identifying our location. And and it will be serving students who attend, families of students who attend the High School of Environmental Science, as well as families that live in the Amsterdam houses, NYCHA complex on the other side. Yeah.
Do you, Josh, are you reaching out to volunteers? Do you need volunteers, or you need people to contribute? Do you need funds, or how do you get your funds?
And Kathy, jump in with me here as well, because I think we will need a lot of volunteers when we're sort of figuring out how we're going to get all of the produce that we're growing delivered to a lot of the places that will be distributing it to the communities. So I'm sure there's a need for volunteers there. But in general, we are a nonprofit organization, so we're always fundraising, and we're always trying to raise money through individuals and also other government sources and private and grant foundations as well.
All right. If somebody wants to volunteer or donate money, how do they do it, Katherine?
They should write to info@teensforfoodjustice.org. And our website is www.teensforfoodjustice.org. And we have a donate page there, and also a contact links where people can write in to offer their time and as well as their financial support for the organization.
And thank you guys so much for all the work that you guys are doing in our community. We appreciate your service.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and an honor to be on the show.
Thank you. Teens for Food Justice, Katherine Soll and Joshua Serrano. Thank you guys so much. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, we'll take a break. We've got more coming up next. It's right here on Open. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it out. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show, but I would like to continue to thank our guests for joining us and you all viewers for tuning in and checking it all out. Keep following us on BronxNet for continued coverage. I want to thank you for letting us share in this space and time with you. And don't forget, temperatures are warming up. Continue to wear your mask. Continue to do your things that help to keep you and your family healthy. And always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. You can catch me over 107.5 WBLS. From all of us here at BronxNet, have a safe, enjoyable day. We love you all. Peace.